Hey guys, Brian here for Better Chess Training, and today is National Chess Day in the United States. So with that, I have a tactics problem for you to solve. This was in my community tab previously, and it's a pretty interesting one, so check it out. Okay, in today's video, we're going to be talking about this position over here, and it is black to play, and I had this in my community tab as a problem for you to take a look at. So if you haven't seen it yet, then pause the video and try to solve the problem. With most of my problems, try to look as far as you think is necessary and make sure that you don't stop your analysis too short. Okay, I hope you had a chance to take a look at it. Let's look at some of the features of this problem. First thing we have to notice is that Black's king is in check. So if you were playing blitz, you would probably just take this knight, and it's probably the first move we need to look at. But we have to, the key to this position is to make sure we understand what happens after this. Because if we take this knight, we have to see that we are opening this diagonal for this bishop potentially. Okay. However, I think it is the one that we need to look at first. Okay, so after we take here on b6, we have to look at what White's other ideas are. Okay, so this isn't the end of the problem, and we see here that this diagonal is fairly wide open, fairly weak, and so in a way we need to do the problem from White's perspective. We also see this queen here, and if this queen could get here to d6, this would be very dangerous. So we look at some ways that the knight can do this, and we can fairly quickly eliminate moves like knight to e6 and knight takes c6, because after the recapture with the bishop, this rook will be covering the d6 square and the d file. Okay. However, hopefully you noticed knight to b5, and this is a threat we can't really ignore. When I was first analyzing this, one of the moves I thought of, because I saw this queen to d6 threat, was, well, I can just play here knight to d5, blocking the file as well as attacking the bishop. However, we have this threat right here of knight to a7, checkmate. So the other thought, of course, is any move, because we know this, moves that protect the d6 square, like bishop to f5, for example, also fail because of knight to a7 mate. So we probably need to take this knight. Now, there's two ways to take it. Now, in your games, as well as when you're solving chess problems, you need to, when there's a choice between two options, they probably aren't equivalent. Maybe in your games they are, but you have to see if there's a difference between one or the other. Okay? And what I first saw here was, well, I can take here, and then after this threat, now notice you cannot protect both c7 and b8 at the same time. So moves like knight to d5 lose to knight or queen to b8 mate. So I saw this opportunity here of being able to maybe give back some material here with queen takes g2 check, king takes g2, and then bishop to h3 check. And after the king, say, takes back, then I take here with the rook. However, I was not very pleased with this solution, because after after bishop takes d6, now the material balance is not really in my favor. Let's say knight to d5, bishop takes, rook takes, and here we do have 7 pawns. Basically, we have 2 extra pawns for the exchange. However, in this case with the rooks for example, coming onto these open files, I think it's very, even though material is technically even, I think white might have a slight advantage here. Okay, if we go back to this position, we do see, we remember we have another option, and that is to take with the C pawn. And again, if you notice that theme that we had of being able to protect the d6 square through a discovery, then we see that this c takes b5 is actually an improved version, because after queen to d6, threatening mate on c7 or on b8, we now can play this queen to g2 check idea. King takes g2 is forced, and now instead of bishop to h3 check, losing this bishop, we actually can play bishop to c6 check with the same idea. And whether he blocks or he moves his king, let's say he blocks, then we can take with the rook, and after the bishop takes, black is up material. And hopefully you were able to find that. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. One of the ideas that I try to present in these tactics videos is trying to show problems where there are two seemingly equal choices, but you need to look further and more thoroughly to be able to determine which one of the two is the correct one. So hopefully this will help inspire this type of calculation in your games as well. But let me know in the comments what you thought, and I will see you soon.